All right, guys, we are here for our live event. It's the Thursday before Memorial Weekend. I was trying to play a video for you, it didn't work, so that's a great way to start. Here's the way today's going to work, guys. I am going to spend 15 minutes. I'm going to go fast because I just learned in the green room that we are in for a treat. Kyle Draper is going to talk to us about three strategies to show up and stand out. Let me mute my phone here. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I want to give you an update on some things we've been working on at FinLocker. So I'll do that real quick, and then we're going to get into the meat of the show, the eye candy, Mr. Kyle Draper. So he is back there ready to roll. So let's do this, guys. Let me share my screen here. So for those of you who have not been following FinLocker, let me just give you a quick update on what we've been up to. So we are focused on two cohorts: home buyers and homeowners, and lenders. I guess that's three cohorts. And so what are we doing for home buyers and homeowners? We are ultimately focused on creating more confidence, more transparency for folks that want to become homeowners, as well as those that are homeowners. And we're doing that through our lender loan officer partners. And this is all about this is why I'm so excited about this combo. This is all about how you show up earlier in a home buyer's life. And so what we've engineered is a technology experience that you, as a loan officer who leans in with early education and early engagement, can leverage this technology to extend how you show up and add value for those prospective home buyers. And what it does ultimately is it creates this relationship where there's more certainty for your prospective home buyers, and there's more certainty, frankly, for you on how those leads are progressing to a point of readiness. And so how do we do that? We've developed an app called Key Steps. Key Steps is our non-enterprise app. It's available to any loan officer. We'll drop a link in the chat here for you to learn more. But essentially, we ask every one of your consumers that you invite into the experience a simple question: where are you on your home buying journey? And based on how the consumer answers that starting question, the app morphs, conforms to that persona. So we're a persona-based platform. The first persona is what we call just getting started. That's your early journey, 3, 6, 9, 12 plus months away from being ready to buy. So you get them into the app early, start educating and engaging them, bringing them closer to mortgage readiness in your ecosystem. Qualifying is our second persona. That's typically somebody inside of 90 days. We have a lot of loan officers that use the Key Steps app to stay sticky with their pre-quals and pre-approvals. There's a roadblock. So think of that as like a turn down use case. We have a ready now use case, which is just what it sounds like. And then lastly, the last persona would be your current clients, your client database that you want to stay engaged with after the transaction. So once we know the persona, we collect a little bit more information. What are the goals and objectives of the consumer? All this data now stacks up in the app. We ask them, when do they plan on being ready to purchase and buy that first home? Tell us more about the home you're looking for. Is it your first home, your next home? Is it an investment property? And then we get into the meat of the app, which is our readiness assessment. And we start by asking a couple additional questions. Tell us about your income. Tell us about your credit. What do your monthly debts look like outside of housing? And best describe your income situation. And then lastly, how much have you saved so far for down payment? And then we use this concept of the slider bar so that the consumer can kind of toggle to that sweet spot to where they're most comfortable with a housing payment. And then once they've done that, we put them into the readiness assessment, and now they've got the feedback. So now, guys, I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to pivot over into the live app, and I'll share the screen here. Bear with me. Share screen. Okay, so now we're looking at a live consumer experience. And what I'm going to focus on here for the next few minutes, guys, is the newest feature that we've released. We call it Buyer Vision. And the way we think about the Buyer Vision feature is if you're a loan officer and you're using the Key Steps app truly at the top of the funnel as the very first engagement you're having with a prospective home buyer, this Buyer Vision experience that I'm going to show you in a minute, it sets the stage for the coaching and preparation and guidance that you as a loan officer are going to provide that prospective home buyer. And so from the app, once I've created an account as a consumer, which is very simple, and I've connected my credit, the consumer then is prompted to share their Buyer Vision summary. And you'll notice it's in beta. We just released this yesterday. This is version 1. We are going to be iterating fast and furious over the next several weeks, primarily based on feedback from you all on how to make this even more powerful for your user, your consumer, but also for you as that financial guidance coach, homeownership advisor, if you will. So for the consumer, once they've connected their credit, and of course they've answered some questions in the setup, this Buyer Vision summary comes to life. So now as a consumer, I can see an overview of my financial situation, including my credit score, my total monthly debt. You'll notice DTI. That'll be our fast follower. We'll be calculating DTI so the consumer can see that. And then a quick summary on what's in my financial picture. So what kind of liabilities do I have around mortgages? Do I have more than one mortgage? Also notice here, we'll be populating and sharing the consumer's income and employment information. Another feature that'll follow soon thereafter will be the consumer's asset information if they've linked directly to their bank accounts, as an example. And as I scroll down, we're going to summarize for the consumer their monthly liability. So their revolving debts, their mortgages, any lines of credit, installment loans, things of that. And then also call out any potential red flags, any kind of late payments, derogatories, whether they're BKs, foreclosures, things of that sort. So now as a consumer, I can see my Buyer Vision report. It's going to update whenever my data is updating inside the experience. And I can share this with my loan officer partner, right? So now that I've connected my credit, answered some questions, and started engaging with the app, I can actually share this Buyer Vision report with my loan officers. And you'll notice that we talk about this. This is sharing for educational purposes only, does not affect your credit score. So we lean in with the consumer on this being part of that loan officer, that trusted loan officer relationship, where that loan officer is extending their ability to coach and guide consumers to a place of readiness. So I'll share that. And now if I pivot over real quick, and I'm going to turn into a loan officer now. So now I'm Brian, the loan officer. Chris just shared his Buyer Vision report with me. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm in the dashboard. There's Chris. Oh, what did Chris do? Oh, here's Chris. So first of all, when I open up Chris on my side as a loan officer in the admin portal, this is the visibility I have into what Chris has been doing inside the Key Steps app. So I know where Chris is on his journey. So he's just getting started. That's his persona. I know when Chris created his account back in September of 2024, and Chris last logged in today, May 22nd. And so as I search down, you'll notice a few other things. Chris has linked multiple properties in the app already. So it looks like he lives in New Orleans, but he has an investment home in St. Louis, also owns a home in Virginia and one in Michigan. So those properties are linked in the app, and you can see the value range there. Chris has also saved, looks like 82 homes in our embedded real estate search. And you can see some of the zip codes that he's saved properties in. And then also notice that Chris has created a filter, a real estate search filter with a price range between 100 and 750, looking for single family homes. And then we'll scroll down, and here is the buyer vision. So now as the loan officer, I can see the report that Chris shared with me, the buyer vision report. There's also the ability for loan officer to download it into a PDF. And so now in real time, when Chris shares from the KeySteps app, his buyer vision report, I now can see exactly what Chris sees and vice versa in the KeySteps app. And so you think about the power now of early journey, up funnel, education, and engagement, where I as the borrower and I as the loan officer, or you as the loan officer, have the same visibility into all this information, which gives me the ability as a loan officer to be a better guide for you on your homeownership journey. And so I see all the stuff, all the same things Chris saw: a credit score range, a summary of any outstanding mortgages, a quick overview of outstanding debts, and if Chris had any red flags, any derogatories, I would see those here as well. And then you'll notice again, we're talking about the report. This report is designed exclusively for coaching and educational purposes. This is a set of data, a report that extends the capabilities, the professionalism of that homeownership advisor. So guys, let me go back into the dashboard real quick, just show you a couple other features real fast. And then I promise we are going to get to the eye candy, Mr. Kyle Draper. He is coming up soon. In addition to the buyer vision report, which with that new release, that becomes the center plate, the center of the plate, if you will, of how the KeySteps app is going to engage this prospective home buyer and link the loan officer through that entire experience. But let me just scroll down for those that need a reminder to show you how you show up as that trusted advisor in the app itself. So as a loan officer, you'll have your own digital business card that kind of resides in the app. And this is a native mobile app, guys. So you've now taken up residency on this consumer's phone 24/7, 365 with push notifications and email alerts that are going to indicate for the consumer when they should come back in and check on updates. But also notice, in this case, I have a realtor partner. And so not only can you invite consumers, and by the way, you can invite unlimited consumers into the experience, you can also have unlimited realtor partners that you partner with and make this technology available through that realtor to that realtor's sphere of influence and ecosystem. So it's a way to accelerate the number of consumers that you're able to assist and help get to a place of mortgage readiness. A couple other things I'll show you on the dashboard. We have a widget around property value, so consumers can link to their property. So, if you're like most loan officers that have a crowded tech stack and frankly an expensive tech stack, using KeySteps, you can start to think about maybe limiting and reducing some of the other tools you might use to engage consumers. So in this case, we are going to bring in property value. You can link multiple properties in the experience. A key feature for us that's different from others is we're not backing into the estimated equity by doing a public look on recorded mortgage deed of trust and then a reverse amortization. We prompt the consumer once they link a property to actually link directly to a mortgage. So now our view of equity is much more accurate, if you will, than other platforms. And in the same experience, I can link multiple properties. So I've got an investment property, a vacation home, et cetera. And then what we do that's different than other platforms is it relates to that property value and that equity. The net equity of the property and or properties becomes part of my financial picture, my net worth here on the dashboard. So we're incorporating personal finance with home ownership and giving your prospects, your clients, kind of this holistic picture of their finances with home ownership at the center of the plate. So guys, this is what I wanted to show you on KeySteps. I could go on forever, but I am not going to delay any longer. I am going to close out my screen. I think Chris on our team put a link in the comments. If you want to learn more about KeySteps, you could click that link and schedule a one-on-one. But without further ado, let me introduce or reintroduce is probably a better descriptor. my great friend, Kyle Draper, Coach Kyle Draper. Kyle and I partnered on the Green Book. Kyle is the author of the Purple Book over my shoulder over here. It's over his shoulder. And most importantly, Kyle is an amazing human, guys. And he is going to spend some time with you, with us, because I'm going to learn right alongside you and help us leave this session with at least 3 strategies we can put in play tomorrow to better show up for our communities. Kyle, I'm going to go slide to the side here and let you drive this thing home.
Are you gonna stay on here with me?
I can. If you need help, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I always need help. And I was telling you backstage, I'm gonna teach this from a slightly different angle than I thought I would teach it. And so the most tactical strategy may come at the end from you and I having a conversation with everybody. Because, dude, here's what we know to be true. What you just showed with what you guys are doing at FinLocker through the Key Steps app, you're gonna have lenders that go, it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And what we'll find is, because you did nothing.
Right.
And then we're gonna have lenders that are gonna go, dude, oh my gosh, this doubled my pipeline. And we're gonna go, really? Well, like what happened? And they're gonna go, I just kept showing up. I just kept learning new tools. I just kept applying the things I was learning and taking the question from one buyer and then asking more people, and all of a sudden good things just happen to pop off when we show up. And so, Brian, if you'll put my slides up for me.
You got it.
We'll jump into this thing. Guys, if you're wondering, why is there a magician back there? It is so easy to look at other people's success and call it luck, to call it magic. Because as long as it's luck and as long as it's magic, it's not my fault why it's not happening for me. And so here's what I've found to be true as I was unpacking all of this in my own life to then be able to teach it to you guys is we know how to show up. We just pick and choose when we want to. All right, that is 100% what is true. Because I know people that have unbelievable physiques, and guess what? They show up to a certain place every single day. I know people that are unbelievable spouses. They show up in their marriage every single day. I know people that are unbelievable parents. They show up for their kids every single day. And so in the art of showing up, we've all proven ourselves able of it. Now we have to tap into how do we do it in the areas where we don't really want to. And so I want to give us three talking points, and I've got some quotes that'll hopefully inspire you, encourage you. Maybe you'll cry. We'll see what happens. A couple stories along the way. But if I can just let the cat out of the bag early, just show up. I got told yesterday by a pastor friend of mine, if your action isn't happening, you need to go look to change your belief. And so if you're having a hard time figuring this out, you need to go look in the mirror and really go reflect on what you believe, since your actions aren't adding up. And guys, let me tell you why it's interesting that, Brian, you asked me to do this, because 3 weeks ago, I was in Canada speaking, and I was hanging out with one of the guys that was also speaking, and he was telling me about this transformative moment in his life 18 years prior at a retreat where this guy looked at him and said, who is paying the price for you being the way that you are? And we're sitting in this bar, and I looked at him and was like, dude, you suck. Why are you dropping that bomb on me when we're just like watching hockey and we're just having a good time? And then you just drop this bomb on me. And I spent another day and a half in Canada reflecting on the 4 people that pay the ultimate price for me being the way that I am. Lana, Harrison, Everly, and Ruby. And then I began to reflect on what is the most pressing thing that if I could start showing up there, it would most drastically impact the price that they have to pay. And it was in my physical health. And so I got home from Canada and I bought a rucking vest. And I started walking like this weirdo around my neighborhood. And guess what happens? Brian, it's unbelievable. I start losing weight. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a strategy. I just started showing up. And then what else happened? Then my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter says, Dad, I want one of those vests. And then this week I started waking up at 5 a.m. to walk. And guess who's with me? My 10-year-old daughter that all of a sudden wants to be a part of what Dad's doing. And guys, here's what I want to inspire you with. That sometimes you are the vision continuer and sometimes you're the vision builder. See, in my family, like health wasn't a big thing. And so that wasn't instilled in me. And so it had been easy my whole life to go, that's just not what we do. That's not what the Drapers value. And so I woke up a few weeks ago and was like, I've got to be the builder of this vision for future generations. And holy cow, is that daunting? But when you boil it down to, I bet if you just started showing up, things would begin to change. And that's what I'm noticing. And so as we jump into this thing, I want you to think about what is that one area, because we've all got multiple, if we're being honest. We've all got room to improve in all the areas. But what is that one that is causing the people you love the most to pay the ultimate cost? And begin to think about that as we work our way through this. And so the first thing in the art of showing up is show up even when it's uncomfortable. I love this quote. You will never always be motivated. I love quotes that aren't good English. They're my favorite quotes. Like, you make it improper English and I'm like, yes, sign me up for that quote. You will never always be motivated. So you must learn to be disciplined. Guys, yesterday morning, my Whoop, right? I wear a Whoop now. I'm like turning into this healthy guy.
Whoop,
and,
whoop.
and so my Whoop was set to go off at 5:30 yesterday morning. And I woke up and in my head, I thought, oh man, I think I missed it. Oh, well, I guess I won't walk today. And I looked at my phone and it was 8 minutes before it was supposed to go off. And I thought, dang it. That was going to be a good excuse, right? I didn't feel the buzz. But then I realized, oh, I actually can do it. And the last thing I wanted to do at 5:30 yesterday was go walk. But I did it because we've got to learn that it's about the discipline, not about the motivation or the desire, because that's fleeting. And I love this story. We all know who Jim Carrey is. So Jim Carrey's dad was an unbelievable musician. And yet he decided to let that dream die to go become an accountant where he failed. And Jim is given credit for this quote where he was talking about his dad. And he says, I learned from his dad, you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. How freaking good is that? The same risk is there. And so why not go for it? And what I also love about Jim Carrey is, Brian, a part of his story is that when he was a young aspiring actor that was getting booed out of comedy clubs, right? Like his road to stardom was very long and ugly and full of pain. But when he was young, he wrote himself a check for $1 million. and he carried it around in his pocket because he believed that one day he'd be able to cash it. I thought, dang, that's how you show up. How many other actors have been more talented than him, have been given greater opportunity than him, but they squandered it because for whatever reason, something got in their way that made it a little bit easier for them to stop showing up. And so what's the lesson? The lesson is this: comfort is a liar. I'm reading a book, actually I'm listening to it on Audible, called The Comfort Crisis. Have you read it?
No, not yet, but I will be.
Dude, there's a lot of parts of it that I can't relate to because this dude is intense. And I am not an intense dude. But he talks about how we are still the same human beings that were originally created as hunters and gatherers. And that when the cavemen existed, like, they were hunters and gatherers. That was the way their minds worked. We're still like that today. We just have people that hunt and gather for us. But our wiring still craves doing hard things. And guys, my mind has been different. You strap a 30-something pound weight on your back and go walk around, I'm not doing anything harder than that the rest of this day. And it changes the way that I see the day, the way that I talk to people, the way that I'm willing to show up, because I'm finally doing hard things. Comfort is a liar. And so y'all know me as a social media guy. For those of you paying attention, why are you still buying in to being behind the camera? Why are you still buying in to the lie of, well, like I'm an in-person person. I just like to be in person. You have so much opportunity in front of you. But what do? We make excuses for the things that make us uncomfortable. And then it's a snowball effect. And we're losing ground because we are unwilling to get outside of our comfort. You have run out of room to grow in your comfort zone. And so the only thing left is for you to do something that you may not like. And Brian, here's what's wild. I've never been like a cold plunge guy. I've always been the guy that's like, yeah, that's not my thing. That's not, I don't. But the other day, while I was rucking, I started going, if I could do this, I bet I could get in a cold plunge. Now I haven't, so I'm not, I'm not trying to celebrate myself, but it's amazing that when we take on something that's hard, it unlocks us to think about something else that's hard that we may also be able to do. But it all starts with just the art of showing up. We show up. That's what we do. The second thing is show up before you feel ready. So this picture, I was 20 years old. I had decided that I wanted to become a pastor. And so I quit college and I started interning at our church. And this was a huge mega church. On my first day, Brian, I get put into this. On my first day as an intern, they fired the guy that was over the largest group of students. And they said, hey, Kyle, we know it's your first day as an intern, but you're going to take over the South Lake campus, which was where all the rich kids lived. And so they were the ones I was the most scared of, right? Like they had everything. What in the world would they want to do with me? And so on day one on the job, I'm in charge of the most important group of students that doesn't have a leader. And then here I am a week after that, preaching my first sermon I couldn't tell you what I said that day, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't good. And this was in a huge auditorium. There's 100+ kids in the room. And so here's what I've learned. There's 3 stages to this. The first stage is I'm not ready. The next stage is I'm still not ready. And then the third stage is after that, do it anyway. Do it anyway. You're never ready. You're never ready. For those of you that are parents, we didn't get a manual. I don't know how y'all do it and maybe in Michigan, y'all do it different, but down here in Texas, they just send you home with a baby. It's like, what? What do we do with this? Nobody tells you. And so it's funny. It's laughable now when I talk to like 20-somethings that are about to have or considering kids, and they're like, yeah, we're just, we're waiting a couple more years until we're ready. Good luck. You're not ready. You're not ready. But it's worth it. And so we've got to show up. And I love this quote. This is a Stephen Pressfield quote, and he says, start before you're ready. Don't prepare, begin. My motto in life is, well, I have 2, but one of them is ready, fire, aim. It's the way I live my life. It's the way I run my companies. That's probably why several of my companies have failed. Massive deaths. But it's the only way that I know to be. My wife the other day, she was like, you got to quit talking about rucking. You're going to get annoying. And I'm like, hey, I don't know. I only know how to be all in. I'm either all in or all out. I'm either getting fatter or I'm getting skinnier. Like there's no such thing as the middle. It's the only way I know. I'm the guy that is going to jump out of the airplane believing that I'll have that parachute built by the time I get to the ground. This is how we've got to live our lives. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is this. Readiness is a myth. It's a myth. You're never ready. So if we've got any young LOs watching right now, guess what? Go get your butt on the internet and start educating people like you've been doing this for 20 years. Because there's nobody to tell you can't. Go get this Key Steps app and start pouring into it and educating people on it. And when you feel like you don't know what you're talking about, guess what? They don't know what they're talking about either. They don't know enough about mortgage to ask you enough questions to know that you don't know what you're talking about. Just go. Take action. Show up for your people. Because I still run into people that met me 5 years ago, and they'll come up to me and go, oh my gosh, I've loved watching your success. I remember back when I met you at this office with 4 people. And I'll go, oh, that's so great. What are you up to? How are your videos? What? Well, I'm not ready. Man, it's painful. And these aren't just other stories. These are my stories. I think of all the different times that I've lost 10 pounds and then quit. Lost 20 pounds and then quit. Where would I have been if I was now 10 years into that habit of showing up versus a dozen times into starting over? We just got to keep showing up. And then here's the third piece of this. We've got to show up for the long game. I don't know if all of you know the story of Colonel Sanders, but I love it because success doesn't always happen in your timing. Colonel Sanders was 65 years old when the first KFC opened. And he had gone door to door to thousands of people in restaurants trying to get them to believe in his chicken. And I believe it was at like 75 he became a billionaire. Guys, the world says you shouldn't even be working by that time. Colonel Sanders was just getting started. And so here is my mindset with setting up for the long game. It's 3 steps. The first step is set the table. And so from a social media perspective, everything I do online is setting the table for who's coming over for dinner tomorrow. And so it takes the pressure off of me going, oh, well, that post underperformed. And man, that post, I thought that was going to crush. And that video got 31 views. I don't get into all that because I'm not creating that content for who I already have. I'm setting the table for who's coming over for dinner tomorrow. And so once you set the table, then you just begin speaking. Well, I don't really have a following. Who cares? 10 years ago, I was coached by a guy named Michael Mayer, who is the most referred realtor on the planet. He gets over 400 referrals a year. He wrote a book called 7 Levels of Communication. And so I got to sit under his coaching for a year where he taught us so many things. And in one of our coaching sessions, this is the question he asked us: would you rather have a database of 20,000 or a database of 1? And of course, all of us were quick to go, duh, 20,000. But after he gave us a chance to answer, he said, but what if the 1 was Oprah? And very quickly, we were all like, whoa, 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 I want the 1. You can have those 20,000. I'll take Oprah. I know this sounds crazy, but I truly believe that at some point, the right person is going to find me that's going to explode me. And that at some point, I will be the guy that people go, where did Kyle come from? Like, how did he get here? Why did I not know about him until now? Like, I look at all of his stuff. He's been around for forever. Why didn't I know about him? It's what I believe. And I believe that all the time that I'm spending in the shadows, perfecting my craft, is going to all get to come out into the light in a lucky moment. And it's going to change everything for me. Now, guess what? Even if it doesn't happen, I won't regret a thing because I never stopped trying. But this is the world we live in. For every single person on here, you are one relationship away from your life being completely different. And that might happen tomorrow. That might happen 10 years from now. But the world of the internet, the world of social media, it gives us the possibility of having our lives change like that. And that's why it's worth it to me to keep showing up for people. We also, guys, I think y'all lose sight. I think, Brian, that I have fresh perspective because I've never been a loan officer before. And so there's things that it allows me to not speak into because I've not done it. But I think it also gives me a perspective that you guys can't have because you're too deep into what's going on. And here's what I see from the outside looking in. I see a lot of LOs who have lost sight of the fact that you are the only salesperson on the planet that gets to create generational wealth for other people through your success. You get to win while helping generational curses be removed from families. It's unbelievable. And so what if you never get famous? but you get to look back and be the reason why this family no longer experienced poverty like the generations before them. This is what you get to do every single day. And so wake up, quit complaining, and start showing up, because there's people that need you. And I love this quote. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. We have to work so hard not to always live in the fast-paced society that we've created for ourselves, right? I mean, now, we're doing this event in StreamYard, and if the little circle on StreamYard spun for 10 seconds, Brian and I are like, what are y'all doing? Like StreamYard, get your crap together, right? If I wait in the Starbucks line for 2 minutes, I'm like, what is going on? Do y'all not have any competent people back there? I mean, it's unbelievable how quickly we get things, but it's not fast enough. And so we've got to be careful that we don't go, well, I've been doing video for 2 months and nothing's happened. 2 months. I've been doing video for 10 years and I'm still waiting for my big break. And so get in line, bro. Start putting in the work. We got to do this different. As we wrap this up, you can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. And what I've learned in my life, because I've been on both sides of this, is there's a lot of people that choose not to try so they never have to say they failed. And so you can live the rest of your life. Man, if I wouldn't have hurt my knee, I'd have made it to the pros. Man, if that wouldn't have happened in college, I probably would have. No, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have. You are living in the story of what if, so that you never have to face the reality of what is. And there's all this research that shows that, Brian, we can get the same neurons, the dopamine hits to fire off by thinking about something just as if we're doing it. And so that's why we love to have strategy sessions and we love to plan and write on boards. And then we never actually take action because we got all the hits we needed, we got back there. And so what's the lesson? The lesson is consistency beats intensity. My DNA, the way I'm wired, is whenever I get back into something, I pretend like I'm still 20-year-old Kyle. And so whenever I get back into working out, I'm trying to do all the things that I was doing when I was 20. And then I can't walk for 4 days. And then I take 8 months off from doing it again. And then I go back and I do it intense. And it's just this perpetual cycle. And so don't be the person that's like, okay, yeah, I need to start doing video. I'm going to start doing a video every day. Maybe, but maybe that's a little bit too intense for where you're at. Because what you might need to do is just show up. Because this is all about where will you be a year from now because you didn't quit versus how much can you accomplish today, though you're endangering tomorrow. And so I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're struggling with. But there are people that are on both sides of your struggle. There are people right now that are paying the price for your struggle. And there are people right now that are going to miss out on being blessed by you because you chose not to figure it out. And so, guys, if we don't know each other, I am here to help you. I am here to serve in whatever capacity that is. But you've got to come to terms with the question: who's paying the price for you being the way that you are? Who's paying the price? Brian, that's the art of showing up today. And we can take this wherever else you'd like from here.
So good. Every lesson I was in my mind, I was equating and kind of lining up with homeownership advisors, loan officers that are making choices on today's transaction versus next year's pipeline, right? And you talked about the long game and looking out 10 years. I think, if we kind of tie this thing all together with what we opened with the Key Steps app, and really your mindset talk here, Kyle, it's nothing starts until you show up.
Yep.
We all know that. And if we're really thinking about how we not just survive, but thrive in this business for the next decade, it's going to be by showing up earlier in people's financial lives.
That's it.
And building trust through education so that you never have to sell again.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk a lot, Kyle, about we don't need more people to follow us. We need to serve those that are already in our ecosystem, that are already in our community.
Yep.
And I think all of those points just line up beautifully with kind of this industry, the market we're in, and really how people are going to win and thrive in this market going forward.
That's it. I mean, Brian, and you've been doing this way longer than me.
That's code for I'm an old dude. And
well, and you're not way older than me, but you got into this industry way before I did, right? And how long will we, as an industry, how long will we let reports continue to come out where the average home buyer that's being asked these questions says that you need 20% down to buy a house?
Right.
I mean, how long are LOs going to go, man, that's weird. I wonder why they think that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you're too fixated on getting your next deal instead of educating people on what this actually looks like. And so there's so much opportunity out there. And man, Shane and I were actually teaching a company this last week about how, as you're looking at all these acquisitions, with what some of these big people are doing, they're going to kick everyone's butt with speed, with process, with efficiency, but they'll never be able to out-relationship you. Ever. And so this is the most competitive advantage that we have, is showing up technically before someone needs me. But here's why that's not even true. And I'll get off my soapbox. Guys, what I've learned about showing up is, because I show up, some of my greatest referral partners have never worked with me. Some of my greatest referral partners have never been a client of any of my businesses. They've never paid me to speak. They've never used me for a virtual assistant. They've never been in a Rethink Everything book. But they trust me enough to think, man, I don't know all the ins and outs about what Kyle does, but I trust Kyle. And so I know that if he can't help Brian, he'll send Brian to somebody who can help him. And so if we would just show up in a way that allowed people to trust us, if you were doing content, helping people realize you don't need 20% down, somebody's going to see that video that's not ready, and they're going to tell somebody about you who is. And it's unbelievable. That's what's available to people right now. And if they don't figure it out, the big companies are going to win, because they're the consumer's craving the relationship, but there's nobody there to give it to them. And so they're going to go, okay, fine. I'll go this way. So
love it.
Thanks for having me.
It's why when you without naming the brands that are behind those big deals, it's why they're also, at the same time that they're bringing this ecosystem together, that they're also focused on being hyper local at some level, right? Because even they recognize they recognize that it takes more than just one leg on the stool to kind of create that ideal seat. And process, technology are two legs on the stool. That third leg is arguably the most important in our business and in this type of environment. And that's each of us showing up consistently.
100%.
Kyle, man, you never let me down. I tell you that. In the last 30 days, maybe 45 days, I think I've seen you twice live, which is always a treat. And we've done this half a dozen times.
Yep.
So guys, I've seen and heard Kyle give talks, let's just say 8 times in the last month and a half. You're like a Pearl Jam concert. Every night's different. The set list is always different.
I will take it.
Yeah, it's just I love I'm appreciative for how much you pour back into our industry. And there was 50 or so people on here during the live. There'll be another 500 that check this out over the next few days over the holiday weekend. I know for a fact, Kyle, that you will have somebody reach out to you that hasn't used your business, hasn't been part of the Rethink book series, etc. And this is why you show up whenever we ask, and I'm appreciative for that.
And I always will.
I know.
And hey, can I give a quick plug for your June 4th webinar?
Let's do it.
Guys, on June 4th, if you don't know Jeff Zempfer, he gets it. He is a man of education. He does a better job than anyone of equipping you with the tools you need to go provide direct value to your realtor partners. And I just saw in the comments that he was coming on the next webinar. And so tune in, because he's just an unbelievable human being that has a heart of gold. And I can't wait to see what Jeff brings to the table, because it's always so good.
Pretty sure Jeff and I connected because of you, Kyle. And
you're welcome.
What I'm excited about is the collaboration with Jeff. Jeff is amazing at teaching loan officers how to teach classes to agents, right? And he and I were having a conversation on what he's been doing, and we're always trying to figure out how do we help more loan officers show up with the right tools at the right time.
Yep.
And as we were having that conversation, Jeff and I, it dawned on us. It was like, wait a minute, there's a class here to be taught. And so that's what we're going to do on June 4th is kind of bring this modern technology experience that we open this live event with, the key steps, but how loan officers can leverage this consumer facing key steps technology and go teach realtors how to build their pipeline, their up funnel pipeline. It's going to be epic.
Get signed up, people.
Hey, I want to do one more thing, guys, because I meant to show at the very beginning a 1 minute video. It's 49 seconds. I'm going to show it now. This is a recap of the buyer vision feature that we showed earlier. So let me get Kyle's screen over here. Let me turn this thing on.
Introducing the Buyer Vision Report, a smarter way to assess clients. This is what you'll see when a client shares their report. It includes total monthly debt, a breakdown of credit types, and any late or derogatory marks. Clients can share their Buyer Vision Report in just a few clicks. Starting from their dashboard, they can refresh it anytime to reflect their most current information. And if they have questions, their loan officer is just a message away. You can access the Buyer Vision Report from your admin portal. It's designed for quick review, showing total debt, credit types, and any late or derogatory marks. A simple way to assess where your client stands before moving forward. Make informed decisions without wasting time or money. More insight, less spend, smarter pipeline.
Guys, that is our newest feature. We're super excited about it. We believe it is the tool that's going to help loan officers at scale, help consumers at scale, especially consumers who are much earlier in their financial life. You can learn more. There's a couple links in the comments. You can learn more about our Key Steps app. Kyle, as always, thank you.
Honored.
We left with 3 tangible takeaways. I can't wait to put them in play myself. Audience, thank you all for showing up. You did the pre-work by showing up. Now you got to follow up and take Kyle's teachings and put them into action in no better time than this long weekend that's coming up.
That's right.
I appreciate you, Kyle. I appreciate everybody for staying with us here this afternoon, and be safe this weekend. And we'll see you back in the trenches next week. See y'all.
Bye, guys.
Meet Key Steps, the app that guides you through every step of your homeownership journey, no matter where you're starting from or where you're at now. And the best part, it's completely free. With Key Steps, you can monitor your credit score and credit report, and even simulate changes to see how they could impact your future home purchase. The Homeownership Snapshot provides a personalized mortgage readiness assessment along with a dynamic action plan to guide you every step of the way. Enrolling financial accounts allows you to track your net worth, savings, and spending with ease and get a clear picture of your financial health. Search for your dream home, favorite the ones you love, and see how they fit into your financial picture, all within the app. Need expert advice? With Key Steps, you're always connected to your loan officer. Reach out anytime, right through the app. Plus, dive into a wealth of educational content to help you make informed financial decisions, and rest assured your data is safe and secure and never shared without your permission. Key Steps, because your journey to homeownership deserves the best tools, and they're all right here.